He succeeds me as Duke of Cornwall and takes on the responsibilities for the Duchy of Cornwall, which I have undertaken for more than 5 decades.
She is Queen Camilla's daughter. She moves through palace corridors like she belongs there, but also like she doesn't. Her own son helped carry the Queen's crown at the coronation, a moment seen around the world. But behind those polished doors, something serious has just gone down, and it is not quiet at all. King Charles, usually calm and careful with every move, has reportedly drawn a sharp line, and this time it's not subtle. Laura Lopes, the same woman who once shouted at Prince William that his father ruined her life, is now right in the middle of a royal jewelry clash that insiders say has shaken Buckingham Palace to its core. Charles is not brushing this off. He is standing firm, and it shows. Stay with this, because it runs deeper than it looks. Before getting into the drama, it helps to know exactly who Laura Lopes is, because even some royal watchers don't fully recognize her name. Laura Rose Lopes, born Laura Parker Bowles on January 1, 1978, is Queen Camilla's daughter from her first marriage to Andrew Parker Bowles, a retired British Army officer. She also has an older brother, Tom Parker Bowles, who built a public name for himself as a food critic and author. Unlike Tom, who appears on TV and publishes books, Laura chose a quieter lane, staying out of the spotlight and keeping things low-key. Laura went to St. Mary's Shaftesbury, a respected all-girls boarding school, before moving on to study history of art and marketing at Oxford Brookes University. That creative background shaped her path in a big way. She interned at the Peggy Guggenheim Collection in Venice, co-founded the 11 Fine Art Gallery in London's Belgravia, and now runs her own business, Laura Lopes Art, focused on figurative work by British artists. In 2006, Laura married Harry Lopes, a former Calvin Klein model who later became a chartered accountant. Their wedding took place at St. Cyriac's Church in Laycock, Wiltshire, and the guest list said everything about her connections. Prince William and Prince Harry were both there, and her mother wore Anna Valentine, the same designer Camilla chose for her own wedding to Charles the year before. Laura and Harry have 3 children: Eliza, born in 2008, and twin boys, Gus and Louis, born in 2009. And here's where things get interesting. Laura is technically the stepdaughter of the king, but she is not a working royal at all. No HRH title, no public funding, no official duties. As one royal commentator put it, she is royal adjacent, close enough to attend Christmas services at Sandringham, but not someone you'll see on the Buckingham Palace balcony. It's a strange middle ground, too connected to disappear, but too private to fully belong. That gray area is exactly why this jewelry situation is turning heads. Because this is not just about accessories. It is about power, legacy, and who gets what when the time comes. To understand why this is causing tension, you have to look at the scale of what's involved. When Queen Elizabeth II passed away in September 2022, Camilla became queen, and with that came access to one of the most valuable personal jewelry collections in the world, estimated at around $120 million. We're talking about historic pieces that go back generations. Tiaras worn by Queen Mary, brooches linked to Queen Alexandra, and rare diamonds that museums would fight to display. One standout is the Greville Emerald Kokoshnik tiara, which Camilla wore at a Windsor event in late 2025, something not seen publicly since Princess Eugenie's wedding in 2018. Then there's the Williamson pink diamond brooch, a rare and striking piece gifted to Queen Elizabeth II for her wedding in 1947. And the Rothschild diamond watch brooch, over a century old and unseen since 1936, made a surprise appearance at Royal Ascot in June 2025, catching experts completely off guard. Now here's where things split into 2 lanes. First, there are the crown jewels and official heirlooms, which belong to the monarchy itself. Second, there is Camilla's personal collection, pieces she owned before becoming queen, family items, and gifts from Charles over the years. And this is where the real question hits. What happens to Camilla's personal jewelry in the future? Could Laura Lopes have a claim to any of it? Technically, Camilla can leave her personal collection to whoever she wants. Her children, Laura and Tom, would normally be first in line. But royal tradition makes this complicated. Certain pieces, even if personally owned, carry deep historical meaning when worn by a queen consort. Passing those items to someone outside the working royal circle raises serious concern among palace advisors. And according to insiders, Laura Lopes has not stayed quiet about how she feels regarding all of this. Now add this to another twist, the Ray Milhouse situation. Because this jewelry tension is not happening in isolation. There's a financial move tied to Ray Milhouse that has already raised eyebrows, and when you connect the dots, the picture starts to look even more intense. Ray Milhouse is not just any country home, it is Camilla's private escape, tucked away in Laycock, Wiltshire. She bought it back in 1996 for around £1.6 million after her divorce from Andrew Parker Bowles, and since then, it has been her safe place away from royal pressure. No titles, no spotlight, just peace, quiet, and her garden, which she has called the best therapy in the world for years. There has long been talk that before marrying Charles, Camilla made it clear she would keep Ray Mill as her personal retreat, a place where she could step away from royal life whenever she needed space. That detail matters now more than ever, because in early 2026, something changed, and people noticed fast. Land registry documents revealed that ownership of Ray Mill House had been quietly shifted, and the names attached raised serious questions. According to reports from the Daily Mail, the listed owners are now Harry Lopes, Laura's husband, and financier Jake Irwin. A palace source explained they are acting as trustees, meaning they do not personally profit from the property. But that explanation did not calm the reaction. Because behind the scenes, many believe the real control sits with Camilla's children, Laura Lopes and Tom Parker Bowles. And that is where things start to feel complicated. Why would Camilla hand over her most personal home into a structure managed by her children? Palace officials have stayed completely silent, which only adds to the tension. And of course, theories started spreading quickly. The first and more straightforward explanation is estate planning, simply organizing assets early in a smart and controlled way. It would not be unusual, especially with a property that valuable. But the second theory is where things take a sharper turn. Some believe this move hints at deeper issues between Charles and Camilla. There have been ongoing rumors that they live very separate lives, sleeping in different rooms and spending long periods apart. Some reports link this to Charles's health and the natural strain that can come with it, but others suggest something more personal may be going on. One palace insider speaking to the Australian outlet Now to Love said that everyone is hoping Camilla is just making a move for tax reasons, but there have been rumors about Charles and Camilla's marriage for a while. That single comment has kept speculation alive and growing. No matter which theory is true, one thing is clear. This move puts Laura Lopes in a much stronger position than many expected. She is no longer just on the edges of royal life. Through this trust, she and her husband are now directly connected to major property decisions tied to royal wealth. And when you combine that with the ongoing questions around Camilla's jewelry, it creates a bigger picture, one where Laura is no longer just royal adjacent, but someone with real influence. And that shift has reportedly not gone unnoticed by King Charles. But this is not the first time Laura has been caught in royal tension. Far from it. This story actually goes back years to a much more personal and emotional conflict involving Prince William. When Charles began his relationship with Camilla while still married to Princess Diana, it caused deep damage across both families. This was not just a royal issue, it was personal, and it affected the children on both sides in a serious way. Laura Lopes was still young when her parents' marriage broke down, and she witnessed that pain up close. When the situation became public, it left lasting scars, and those emotions did not just disappear. They carried into tense moments between her and Diana's sons. Royal author Katie Nicholl revealed in her 2010 book that when William and Laura first spent time together after Diana's death, the clashes were intense. These were not small disagreements, they were emotional confrontations about who was to blame. William reportedly accused Camilla of damaging his mother's life, while Laura fired back in defense of her own family. At one point, she told him, "Your father has ruined my life." Those words were sharp, direct, and impossible to ignore. It showed exactly how difficult her position was, a young person trying to defend her mother while facing one of the most watched figures in the world. Over time, things did settle on the surface. By the time Charles and Camilla married in 2005, William and Harry made an effort to appear united with their step-siblings, even posing together for official photos. Laura later attended William and Kate's wedding in 2011, and her daughter Eliza even played a role as a flower girl. In a memorable moment, she was lifted onto the Buckingham Palace balcony by then Prince Charles to look out at the massive crowd. But appearances can be controlled. That does not always mean relationships are close. Observers have pointed out for years that William and Harry are not particularly close to Laura or Tom. In fact, a former royal gardener claimed in 2026 that the relationship between the families is very considerate, meaning it is carefully managed to keep distance and avoid conflict. Laura understands those boundaries better than most. That has been clear for years. Which is exactly why this current situation stands out so much. Because if she has stepped beyond those unspoken limits, even slightly, it explains why King Charles is said to have reacted so strongly. And that leads straight into what insiders are calling the shutdown, what Charles reportedly did next, and why it has everyone watching closely. The tension between King Charles and Laura Lopes has reportedly reached a new level, and this time, it is all about jewelry. Not just any jewelry, but the pieces connected to Camilla's role as queen consort. These are not simple accessories you can pass down without questions. They carry weight, history, and serious meaning. Here is where things get complicated fast. Many of the pieces Camilla wears are technically her personal property, but they are also deeply tied to royal duties and public appearances. That blurred line has people inside the palace uneasy because treating them like private items does not sit right with tradition. Laura Lopes, as Camilla's daughter and a likely heir to parts of her private collection, is said to have taken an interest in certain pieces. And this is not random. Her background in the art world means she understands the value, the history, and the long-term importance of these items. But for King Charles, this is not just about family. It is about the crown itself. He is carrying the pressure of protecting the monarchy during a time of major change. He has already faced public fallout from Prince Harry and Meghan stepping back, handled his own health challenges in the spotlight, and worked to reshape the royal family's image. The last thing he wants is a dispute over royal jewelry turning into a public issue, or worse, seeing historically important pieces leave royal control. Charles knows that even if some items legally belong to Camilla, they still represent the monarchy in the eyes of the public. They are symbols of continuity, identity, and legacy. And from his point of view, that is not something you take lightly. According to insiders, the king made his stance very clear, but not in a loud or dramatic way. There were no shouting matches, no public scenes. Instead, he reportedly spoke with calm authority and set firm boundaries. His message was simple. There are rules, and there is a proper way to handle matters like this. In royal terms, that kind of response is as close as it gets to a shutdown. The conversation ended there. Quiet, controlled, and final. To understand Laura's position, though, you have to look at the bigger picture. She did not choose this complicated life, just like William and Harry did not choose theirs. The situation they are all in comes from decisions made long before they had a say. Since Charles and Camilla married in 2005, this blended family has always had a unique challenge. Camilla's children are not royals, but they are closer to royal life than almost anyone else. They are surrounded by historic estates, priceless collections, and traditions that go back generations. They see their mother wearing pieces worth millions. Their own children, Eliza, Gus, and Louis, have taken part in major royal moments like coronations and Christmas gatherings at Sandringham. But at the same time, they are private citizens. No titles, no official roles, no formal claim to royal assets. That mix creates pressure, especially as time moves forward. Camilla turned 78 in 2025, and naturally, questions about inheritance and the future are becoming more urgent. The transfer of Ray Milhouse already showed that she is thinking ahead and making moves to secure her children's future. From her point of view, it is a normal step, a mother organizing what she can pass down. But she is not just any mother, she is queen. And that changes everything. Because within the monarchy, personal decisions often collide with tradition, rules, and public expectation. King Charles has been trying to modernize parts of royal life. He has included Camilla's grandchildren in events like Christmas at Sandringham, something that would have been unlikely years ago. He has also been seen interacting warmly with Laura and Tom at public moments, including the unveiling of state portraits at the National Gallery in March 2025. He is clearly making an effort to be inclusive, but even that has limits. And when it comes to royal jewelry, those limits are very real. These pieces are not just valuable, they represent centuries of history and the legitimacy of the monarchy itself. Letting them drift into private hands, even through family, is something Charles reportedly will not allow. At the center of all this is a quiet but powerful conflict. Camilla as a mother wanting to provide for her children, and Charles as a king focused on protecting the institution. Both sides make sense, but right now they are not lining up. So what happens next? Laura Lopes is not stepping away from this situation. She remains a central figure in Camilla's personal world, and their bond is clearly strong. Camilla has even been seen wearing a pendant with the initials of her grandchildren, Eliza, Gus, Louis, Lola, and Freddie, keeping them close no matter what is happening behind the scenes. In the summer of 2025, Camilla spent time in Scotland, shopping in Balliter with Laura and her granddaughter Eliza. Moments like that show this is still a close family, not one falling apart. But at the same time, the pressure is building. The question of what happens to Camilla's personal jewelry is not going away. If anything, it is only getting bigger as time passes. Legal teams within the palace are expected to look closely at past cases and traditions to guide what happens next. And right in the middle of it all, Laura is watching and waiting. King Charles has already shown how he handles sensitive family issues, calm, firm, and focused on the bigger picture. He did it with Harry and Meghan, and insiders believe he will take the same approach here. Even if this situation is quieter, the stakes are still serious. One detail that has caught attention: during Christmas 2025, Laura and Tom were not present at Sandringham. That stood out, especially since they had been included the year before following Charles's health news. It suggests that something is shifting, even if nothing has been said publicly. At its core, this situation highlights a long-running challenge for the monarchy: the difference between family and institution. Laura Lopes cares about her mother and her future. King Charles is focused on protecting the crown and everything it represents. Those two priorities are not enemies, but right now they are pulling in different directions.
For now, the jewelry remains locked away, untouched and protected.
The king has made his position clear.
And in Wiltshire, Laura Lopes is staying quiet, but she is not out of the picture.
What makes this situation so gripping is that nothing is exploding out in the open, yet everything feels like it is shifting underneath the surface. No official statements, no dramatic headlines from the palace itself, just quiet moves, careful decisions, and a growing sense that something important is being decided behind closed doors. Because in reality, this is not just about jewelry. It is about control, legacy, and who gets to shape the future of the royal family's most valuable symbols. King Charles has made it clear, at least privately, that the line between personal and royal cannot be blurred too far. And once that line is crossed, even slightly, it becomes very difficult to pull things back. That is exactly why he stepped in when he did, early, firm, and without leaving room for confusion. At the same time, Laura Lopes is not an outsider trying to break in. She has been part of this world for decades, watching it from a unique position that very few people understand. Close enough to see everything, but never fully inside it. That kind of position creates its own tension. Because when you grow up around history, wealth, and tradition like this, it is natural to feel some connection to it. Not ownership, but something close to it, and that is where the real conflict sits. On one side, you have a king who sees these jewels as part of something much bigger than any one person. To him, they are not gifts, not assets, not even family heirlooms in the usual sense. They are pieces of the monarchy itself.
On the other side, you have a daughter who sees her mother wearing these items, living with them, and naturally wondering what happens to them next.
Neither side is unreasonable, but they are not aligned either. And that gap is where things get complicated fast. What makes this even more intense is timing. The royal family is already in a period of change. Public expectations are shifting, roles are being redefined, and every decision carries more weight than it used to. There is less room for quiet mistakes now. Less space for anything that could be seen as mismanaging history or tradition. That means even a private disagreement like this one has the potential to grow into something much bigger if not handled carefully. So far, it has been contained. No leaks from inside the palace walls that confirm anything directly, no public back and forth, no visible fallout. But the signs are there if you look closely. The property transfer, the growing attention on Camilla's collection, the subtle changes in who appears where and when. These are not random details. They are pieces of a larger puzzle that is still coming together. And then there is Camilla herself, right at the center of it all. Because while Charles is focused on the institution and Laura is thinking about family, Camilla is balancing both sides at the same time. She understands the rules, she has lived within them for years, but she is also a mother and grandmother who wants to make sure her family is secure and taken care of. That is not a simple position to be in. Every choice she makes now carries weight in two directions, toward the crown and toward her children. And sooner or later, those choices will have to become final. When that moment comes, it will not just decide who gets what, it will quietly define how far the royal family is willing to bend when it comes to tradition. For now, everything remains steady on the outside. The jewels are still in royal hands, the palace remains silent. The family continues to appear together when needed. But underneath that calm surface, decisions are being shaped that could have lasting impact. Because once a precedent is set, once even one piece moves outside the expected path, it changes what is possible going forward. And that is exactly what King Charles seems determined to prevent. So the situation remains unresolved, but not inactive. Laura Lopes is still watching, still connected, still part of the conversation, even if quietly. Camilla is still holding the balance between duty and family, and King Charles is still guarding the line that, in his view, should never be crossed. Nothing has fully played out yet, but everything is already in motion. And when the final decision comes, it will not just be about jewelry. It will be about what the monarchy chooses to protect and what it is willing to let go.